Yo, we just people from the north side. Once the Timmy's hit the shore fine. Winter ready on the full ties. Heavy traffic during 4-5. Gotta hustle on your own time. Color people every port side. We just people from the north side.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your host, your boy, George Mackay, from a new angle. As you can see, I decided that today was going to be the day that I decided to switch around my entire setup as I wind down on Straight Talk Wrestling. But I got a very special guest, someone who I have had the privilege to call a friend, someone I've had the privilege to call a coworker in this crazy mixed up world of professional wrestling, someone who has made this face look all kinds of good. Ladies and gentlemen, the most talented photographer that I know, next to Emily Bruno, who shot all my other stuff. Please help me welcome Brian Weis to Straight Talk Wrestling.
And the crowd goes wild. Hey, thanks, George. Appreciate it, man.
No problem.
Quite the pump up there. Jeez. I could think of at least 5 photographers that are better. Just saying, just throwing it out there.
Listen,
but thank you.
You probably could. You're probably right. Maybe there are some more talented individuals out there. I mean, Jeffrey Coleshoe in the Indies is definitely high up on that list as well. But what I love most about your photos and what I love most about your style and the way you do things, like I've watched you shoot some of the biggest names in our sport in some of the most uncomfortable, temperature controlled rooms in the world. Yet you've done it with a smile on your face and you made everyone that step in front of that camera feel accepted and feel welcomed, which is difficult to do because a lot of people think, oh, when you're camera shy, you can be camera shy like this in video. You can be camera shy anytime there's a lens pointed on you. So I guess that's my first question. How do you have that amazing gift that you have, which is to make everyone feel as comfortable as they do?
Thank you. I didn't know I had that gift. That's pretty cool. I don't know. I've been told before that I'm very calm. You can't really see the panic, so I've had people tell me that calming demeanor is good, but realistically I respect people, I respect everybody that I shoot, and for them to take the time to come to me and trust me with a photo is a big deal. I mean, really, you said it already. People are camera shy. People don't like getting their picture taken. They feel very self-conscious, and a photographer's job is to at least in the wrestling world, make you look like a superhero, make you look larger than life. So that's my goal, is just make people feel comfortable, make people feel happy. I'm not the most socially adept person. I have my own set of social issues, and it's very hard for me to do portrait. It took a long time for me to put myself out there to shoot portrait. And that's mainly because of the connection issue that I have with people sometimes. So for you to say that's actually really cool, George, I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, listen, I mean, I'm not, most people would say, oh, you have a podcast. You've done thousands of these conversations where your face is out there. Yeah, it doesn't mean I don't have my own idiosyncrasies. And when you're in a room filled with all these, like you said, larger than life personalities and superheroes, and then you step in front of the camera and you're this little chubby kid who just wants to get in front and make his t-shirt and vest his own style and flair, you were one of the first photographers that actually made me feel really comfortable taking my picture, because I don't like the way I smile. I don't like the way I look. And you were I remember that first time you shot something for me, I was like, Brian, I want to take a photo. And you were like, I would love to shoot you. I was like, okay. And then you were just like, and then I did my first thing and I didn't know what to do with my hands. And you're like, just relax,
Yeah.
take it slow. And we did. And then I got comfortable. And now I have my own kind of set of poses that I've done every time you've shot me that are something that was tailor made from that first conversation. So whether whether you believe it or not, you definitely do have that gift. But I want to talk about you. I want to talk about history. I want to talk about why you fell in love with wrestling photography, I guess is the best way I could go about it. The action shots, the capturing stuff within a split second, the angles that you have to get, the portraits that you said you finally felt comfortable putting yourself out there. What was it about what was it about pro wrestling that made you want to step into this world?
Shelly, my wife, she's the super fan. She was at WrestleMania 6. She's been a fan since birth. I actually was not a fan at all when I lived in Connecticut years ago. My sister's best friend, Lisa, her brother, Carl, was a huge wrestling fan. And don't hate me. I've grown a lot since then. I've learned a lot since then. But I thought it was the corniest stuff. Like it was all Macho Man and that era, right? Yeah. So I wasn't into it. I didn't get it. I thought it was just like, why are you watching this stuff? Fast forward, I start selling cameras. I marry my wife, Shelly. she takes me to AWF Wrestling in Whitby, Ron Hutchinson's promotion. I got permission from Ron to shoot ringside, and I didn't know who he was at the time. I really didn't know anybody, but Asylum was there, Nick. There was a lot of people that I still know today who were at those first AWF events back in 2007, 2008, something like that. So that's what caught the bug for me. When I went, I just called him up. I said, hey, I sell cameras. Can I bring a camera with me to your event? He's like, yeah, sure. Make sure you introduce yourself. So I did. He was super cool. He let me go ringside, and the speed and the excitement and the energy that every single person that gets into the ring brings is it's addicting. Oh, you know, anybody who's watching this podcast knows. The minute you get your foot in the door in this industry and you start talking to the talent, you start talking to the promoters, you start learning the behind the scenes kinds of gimmicks and the way that they think about things and process, and you see them working out their matches in advance. And it is so awesome. Just watching everything is so awesome. And there's so many different opportunities to shoot. And I found that my niche isn't necessarily, behind the scenes, backstage, candid pictures of people. There's, like you say, Jeffrey Cole is awesome at those kinds of things. There's a lot of other really talented photographers that connect with the wrestlers better than I do. I still I don't go into the change room. That's not my thing. I believe that that's a place where they go to retreat from people like me. They don't want to be looked at with cameras and whatever. So I respect them as a talent and as a person, and I don't go back there. It's just kind of me. Because of that, I do see photos circulating that I just thought, I wish I'd made that photo. I wish I had that connection with some of these guys, but I respect them. And I'm pretty sure they respect what I do when I go. I like to be very professional and just show up and do my job and make everybody look good. And that dynamic is what draws me to it. So to answer your question now, what do I love about it? It's the people. By far, it's the people. And people like you, George, like we've had conversations before where, you were pissed off about this or pissed off about that. And you're honest with me and you're talking to me as an honest person. Now, we don't get honest people in our lives enough. You know what I mean? Like I work retail, and honesty is sometimes just like not a thing, right? From customers or, from coworkers, whatever. So the world of wrestling, I believe that these guys don't take shit from anybody because they don't have to, right? Like you're not going to waste a wrestler's time and they're just going to stand there with a grin on their face, making happy faces. No, they're going to tell you, look, I don't want to deal with you. I'm going away. I need that in my life. I need people who are real, honest, not going to blow smoke. I don't like that at all. And I'm not a person with ego, so I don't give a shit if they're happy with me or they're sad with me or they're whatever. Be honest with me. Tell me what you think about this photo or that photo. And have you ever had any of the wrestlers ask you what you thought of their match?
I've had a few wrestlers being like, I was like, dude, a great match. And they were like, yeah, did you like it? Like, what did you like about it specifically? And I'm like, well, it's hard to really pick out a point that I liked when I was calling the match. But from what I do remember, like now you put me on the spot and I have to answer this question. I'll be like, yeah, honestly and truly, I like that kind of little face-off section that you did, or I like the exchanging of blows section, or I like the exhaust after like the 7th or 8th pinfall attempt. Like I'll try to pinpoint those moments like that.
See, I can't think of those moments. A wrestling match goes on in milliseconds for me. Like I'm catching milliseconds, I'm catching moments, I'm seeing the entrance, I'm seeing where they're going, I'm seeing the fan reaction, I'm seeing, the interplay between the wrestler and the fan. I'm seeing fractions of seconds and not catching it. Did you do a good move? You know what I mean? Like, was this a bad move? Sometimes I'll catch like if there's a miss or something like that, but for the most part, I don't catch that. So I just love the speed of it all. I love the challenge. And as a photographer first, I teach photography, and as a photographer first, and a wrestling fan now second, for me, it's about the challenge of the images, getting the shots the way I want them, getting the settings the way I want them, capturing the visual that I'm trying to capture, right? Customers come to me all the time. They're like, how do I shoot this? I'm like, what photo are you making? Because every setting, if I'm zoomed in or I'm zoomed out, has different impact on the background blur. So I'm thinking about all those things as I'm shooting. So there's very little storytelling that I'm catching. I catch the stories as I'm going through my edits, and I'm picking out those moments after the fact. So I just love wrestling, man. I have so much respect for the talent. I have so much respect for anybody who does it well. And when I say does it well, I mean like not a scumbag or not a, horrible human. If you're a good human and you're learning, then you're doing it well. That's what I mean by that.
No, and
I just love it.
I totally get what you mean by that, because I mean, as much as pro wrestling has so much great people in it, and it has so much, you know, fascinating promotions, mixes of talents, mixes of, you know, creeds, mixes of everything, personalities, it also has that mixture of light and dark. It does,
Yeah.
and it is very exhausting to be in this world. This world is could be the greatest. I don't know how many times I've come home from a show just on cloud nine because I got that interview I was chasing, or I got that conversation I was really excited to get, or I just had fun for that day on the show. There's some of the funnest shows that I've been are the ones that I don't ever get to pull my camera out, because I'm just having those real moments or those real conversations. And then sometime from that, it's like, man, this is a great conversation. We should have recorded. Well, hey, we're 10 minutes into this conversation now. Who's to say we can't record the last 15? And sometimes moments like that, they happen and they resonate. But as much as I think you and I are both on the same wavelength, as much as we love pro wrestling, we've seen the good and the bad. We've seen the dark side. We've seen the light side. We've seen all different facets that we could have seen as far as we've come in this Ontario indie scene. And this scene is great. This scene, I love it. When I leave it behind at the end of December, in terms of the podcast, I will always remember and cherish it. But the one thing that I'll be thankful to leave behind is sometimes the egoness, so the egotesticalness, sometimes the strive to be the best of this, the best promoter, the best talent, the best this, the best that, sometimes fighting, scrapping, clawing, chasing for those spots. And when you think you've earned someone's respect, or even when you're polite enough to say hello, even to somebody who you may not be a huge fan of, or someone you may not respect personally, when you're still professional enough to be like, hey, how are you? And they just ghost you, or they walk by you like you don't exist. And I'm like, you're a small town indie wrestler from, I don't know, bumfuck wherever. And you're going to sit there and you're going to big dog me when we're at the exact same level. Cool. I appreciate you, but those are the things that I'm not going to miss. But what I am going to miss is those genuine connections, those genuine conversations, those people who I can call friends and colleagues of this business. And I've met both sides of it. And I'm thankful for the 10 years that I've had in it, and I'm still going to be a part of it, doing the commentary whenever I can, and whatever promotion is on it, great enough to have me. But it's sometimes that leaves a little bit of a sour taste in your mouth, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does. There was a period around 2017 that I was pretty much ready to call it quits, just be done with it. But it wasn't because of the wrestlers. It was more from the other photographers at the time. Everybody has a process, everybody learns in a different way, and everybody enters the business at a different time and for different reasons. And one of the things I've learned as an educator, as a teacher for photography, is that everybody has different reasons for being a photographer, and yet every reason is equally as important as the other. Do you know what I mean? Like, my reasons for being in photography primarily were I needed a job. So I started working selling cameras, right? And then that turned into the passion for the photography, and that turned into a passion for the art form and composition and storytelling and all these other things, where I know a lot of young photographers who are in this business who will message me and be like, hey, Bri, I'm thinking of doing this. What do you think? And I want to go work here. It's funny when wrestlers or photographers come to me and ask me to, if I can get them in shooting for places that I'm hired to shoot, which no, but I still give them all the respect I can, right? Because everybody deserves that. Everybody has their own reasons and their passions. And I don't know anybody who is into wrestling or photography who is doing it because they just don't like it, or they're angry at things. They do it because they love it, right? So, yeah, I get very frustrated sometimes with some of the attitude, some of the, and you said it, some of the ego, because I have like an allergy to ego. I don't understand it. I don't understand the self-importance. I don't understand how somebody can feel that they're more important than another person when all we are just, ants on a hill, right? Like, really. You may have gotten a shot. You have put that effort in, and you've worked your ass off to be an amazing this or an amazing that. And you've put yourself into positions to do really, really well. And respect goes to you for that. But that doesn't mean that you have any right to treat other people poorly, right? And we've dealt with people like that. And I can only think of one wrestler, to be honest, that I have no respect for. And that's just because, I went to give him a fist bump and I have psoriasis, and he saw my hand and he's like, no, I don't want to catch your germs or something like that. And I was like, okay, I don't like you. But other than that, everybody's been so nice and so respectful. What they say behind my back, who knows, right? Like, I don't give a shit. That's not my problem. I don't give a fuck if I can say that. I don't know.
Yeah, you absolutely fucking can. Don't worry about
it. Okay. But I mean,
if I don't allow swearing on Straight Talk, on the Straight Talk Wrestling podcast, how are we being straight up and honest? How are we being truthful, right? Sometimes the motion has to come out in a swear word. So you're all fucking good, brother.
Good. I'm not a huge swearer, but that I don't give a fuck thing. I mean, that is like, that's on my phone as my mantra for the year. You know, I had to teach myself that.
Absolutely. And you know what? I want to say that I myself am like, hey, I don't give a fuck. I really don't care. But there's that, you know, from childhood trauma, and God, I'm still carving most of that out. But my parents were not people that should have been parents in any form or fashion. I don't even really resonate them as my parents. They are my sperm and egg donor. They gave a little something for me to be here. And I've strived myself to be the best father, best husband, best everything I can be in my life. And I'll walk around with, you know, like sometimes women have that resting bitch face. I'll have that like resting asshole face, and people are like, oh, you're intimidating as fuck. I'm not. When I'm around, my anxiety is so high that I'm just trying to, you know, find a place and trying to keep my ADD under control. And sometimes it may come across like that, but also it comes across as I have huge imposter syndrome. And I have no ego. I am my worst critic. Whenever I hear my voice, I'm like, God, I sound like absolute shit. But then I'll have people say, you have a great radio voice. You have a great tone, great volume. And I don't believe it. I'm like, yeah, you're just blowing smoke up my ass because you're in front of me. If you're behind me, behind my back, who knows what you're saying? And it's the same thing with a lot of things. Like when I got my first commentary gig, I'm like, I have no right being up here. I have no right being the narrator for these stories. But as I got more comfortable, worked through those growing pains, then you kind of understand, maybe I do have something to offer. Maybe I do have something to bring. And then when I get off, like some of the best conversations I've ever had are the conversations where I go in blind. I've done no research. I just want to have a genuine connection with a human being for 30 to 45 minutes. And then I'll get off and the person I'm with will be, oh, you asked great questions or you did this and did that. I'm like, really? I thought a lot of my questions were stupid. You probably even asked them 50,000 different ways. It's like, no, I've never been asked that question. I've never been asked that. So for me, imposter syndrome and the anxiety and the fact that even though I've been in this world as a commentator for 5 years, as a podcaster for almost 10, I still don't feel like I belong. And I don't feel like I've earned any damn respect. And it sucks because I know I may have, but it really does suck when you break it down. God, I feel like you're the host of the show. Like I'm just sitting here being as open and as honest as I can. But I feel like this is one of those conversations where I actually can, because 10 years is ending. Straight Talk is coming to an end in December, and it's why are you shaking your head like that? Don't shake your head. Come on,
because it's sad.
Man. It's been fun.
It's sad. I mean, when people transition from one passion to another, it's tough to see, but I also know that it's important. Like for me, I don't know if I was going to say anything about it, but I might be transitioning away from shooting wrestling for a while. Mm-hmm. I've got another thing. I'm going to be doing some sports portrait teams work, and that just may take up time. It's not because I want to stop shooting wrestling or anything like that. And I probably will continue, at least for, Barry for sure, and HWE and these other places that have hired me. But I'm not going to be looking for new stuff while I'm working on all this other stuff. That's where the money is, right? So, but it's sad when you see a transition away, and it's a big deal, especially when you've been doing it for a long time. And bigger than that, it's your personal passion project. And a personal passion project is more important for you than it needs to be for anybody else. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I did the Expressions podcast, that thing I have there. I did that for about 3+ years with my coworkers, and it was a passion project. I didn't care if anybody ever watched it. It was just having conversations with people. I am not an extrovert. I am a total introvert. On TV, on a camera, in my comfort space, I'm good. But put me out of that. Even if you see me at wrestling, how often do you see me in groups of people? I'm off on my own. You're
either off on your own or you're with that one or two select individual that you've gained that rapport with. Like you'll
exactly.
always see you and I walking around and shooting the shit and talking crap, right? Because
I hope so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah, I enjoy those conversations too.
Because you are an outgoing person and you have that ability to project and to show confidence, and you may be going through your anxiety. And I think most people we deal with day to day are having their anxiety as you're talking to them. And you don't think it because they're projecting, they have their confidence, and you don't think of it. But at the same time, you got to kind of have to assume that everybody's the same.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody's going through the same shit. We may have had parents that helped us more.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the value of that. Trust me, I do. And I may not have had as bad a situation, but you know, we all have good and bad. And I didn't have anything handed to me ever. So that's an anger point. And when you have, okay, again, back to my Expressions podcast, the people that we interviewed, people who are creatives who ended up doing what they love to do as a career.
Mm-hmm.
You know, transitioning from hobby to career at some point and having that conversation. And the people who are the most successful, I would say a good 95 at least % of those people had two parents, two incomes, full support from their parents for whatever they wanted to do, and you could do everything. Without that, it's just like you're climbing uphill on shards of glass. And those of us who have the cojones to just keep on going, get somewhere. Maybe not as far as we want to go because, you know, life, but, you know, it takes a long time. And I've been shooting wrestling since 2007. I didn't shoot professionally until 2023.
That's a big jump, man. That's a big jump. You're talking,
well, I was
close
challenged.
Yeah. What do you mean by
that? I
that?
was challenged.
What do you mean?
Okay. So in 2017, I had that circumstance with another wrestling photographer that pretty much had me create my mantra, my hashtag of life, which is I shoot for me. That applies to everything I do, whether it's my wrestling photography or driving down the road. It doesn't matter. I shoot for me is my permission to myself to trust my instincts and to trust that if I'm going to be hired to do something, they're hiring me for me, not to be somebody else. And the way I came to that was when this other photographer, no need to name names at all, because that's all been, you know, swept under the rug. That one photographer basically said that because I shoot for free, I'm a problem with the industry. And I don't want to be a problem with the industry. I want to help the industry. I want to bring it up, right? Like that's kind of my thing. I don't want to be that guy. So I put my camera away. I went up to the balcony and I just watched the show for the rest of the night that night. And I got home and I wrote this long rant. I don't know what you'd call it. Some sort of manifesto, I guess.
A credo.
Yeah. So basically just telling the world to fuck off. Like, this is my world. I do what I want to do. I'm doing it for my reasons. They're as important as yours. If you don't like it, well, fucking do better, you know, earn the business over me. That was my end belief. And from 2017 on, I took my photography a little more seriously. I picked and chose who I would work with a little bit more carefully. But it wasn't until 2023 that I finally said, all right, I got to start charging. I can't just do this for free anymore. Until then, I saw that as education. I saw that as training. Any good photographer pays for training, right? Mm-hmm. Any good wrestler pays for training. Any good anything. If you're going to try and get to a higher level of what you do, you're going to pay for some help at some point. So I saw my shooting wrestling as me putting the time in and getting the money, like paying to do it, paying in my time, not financially. But then finally, I was at a wrestling event, and there were two other photographers there, and it was an event that I happened to be in the Hall of Fame for. I've been with Barry since day one, and there's nobody else that's going to shoot for Barry as long as I'm shooting for them, right? Like, and that's not a cocky thing. That's just Dr. Sean Gibson. He said it. Anyway, point being, I'm sitting there in this event, and there's two other photographers arguing back and forth about whose turf it is. Is it this guy's turf or is it that guy's turf? And I'm standing right there like, you know, I realize I'm not like a bold, in your face kind of guy, but I'm right fucking here, you know, like, hello. So that's when I finally said, all right, well, if that's how people are going to be around me, then I'm going to step up and I'm going to show them to respect me. And that was when I started charging for shooting. And, you know, I got a lot of work that next year. 2023 was a good year. 2024 was a little bit better. 2025, I shifted away. You and I both made a change in one of the big companies that we worked for. And that is, you know, 1 or 2 events a month that I wasn't going to shoot after that. So that was a hit in the professional side of what I do. but then HWE came along and so on. I just find like when one thing stops, another thing starts. And it's just worked really, really comfortably to the point where I went to the Maritimes this year and I was hired to go shoot for North Pro, which was like, oh, so cool. It was the best, the best. I mean, I just had so much fun for so many reasons. And that was kind of like a validation moment for me, but it always is, man. Like we're always trying to do well. We're always trying to do better. I'm always trying to change my edit style. I'm trying to shoot different. I'm looking at the other photographers that are around right now and thinking, I like the way Showcase is shooting right now. Like I like the way he's composing things and I like his spirit and I like the way Jeffrey does his portraits and I like the way, all these other guys are doing some really cool things. So I don't try and do that because I shoot for me. Mm-hmm. Like I truly believe that. But at the same time, I'll think, what can I do differently? What can I step up and push myself to do? And that's where this next sports photography thing is going to come in with like fire and smoke and other cool stuff, hopefully. So, yeah.
It's so cool. It's so cool to see that you're branching out and doing something else different. And, like you said, I think that when it's all said and done, when my time in the wrestling podcast world is over, when your time, if you choose to stay, further away from professional wrestling, I hope we left the wrestling world better than it was before we came in. And I feel like I could say from my side of things, I've always stayed as a man of integrity. I've always stayed as a man as what my beliefs are or who I want to stay loyal to, I will. And what I choose to do in between those things is my own business. The only people I have to answer to are my wife and my kids. Those are the only people whose opinions really genuinely matter to me. Mm-hmm. And when I announced that Straight Talk was ending at the end of this year, I got a lot of, why are you going? Why are you doing that? People I hadn't talked to for years. And I'm like, because I'm ending now. Why? You care because the spot may be vacant and you get a chance to do it? Go ahead, take it. Take it with your bought and purchased followers or this or that or however you choose to. Oops, did I say bought and purchased followers? Whoops, my apologies. But
who does that?
At the end of the day, I truly love everything about professional wrestling. But I also hate a lot of things about professional wrestling. And that's because I've been behind the scenes and seen, like I said, some of those things where it's just like, this is not the world I want to be in. I got in this to narrate stories from these incredible storytellers that don't have the ability to narrate these stories while they're out there doing them. And I've been able to meet a lot of amazing people, and I've been able to meet a lot of people that I may want to forget. But at the end of the day, I feel like I've narrated these stories to the best of my ability. And for the first time ever, I will say this, on the commentary table, I don't think I'm half bad anymore. Before I used to think I was the worst of the worst. Now I would say I can hang. I'm not the best of the best. I'm far from it. But I can hang with some of the best of the best. Some of the guys who have been grinding and putting it in. And
you're easy to listen to, George.
You're
easy to listen to.
Morning?
No, well, yeah, sure. Like Sunday morning. So here's the thing. I did my, as soon as I got IWTV, I started listening to all the other groups, and there's some pretty painful commentary, dude. Like there is some really, really painful stuff out there. I love the team up in Barrie. I just love the guys, Diamond Jim and Iron Mike Jeffries. Those two guys are just part of my family. So, and Jeff makes me laugh. Mike Jeffries. He makes me laugh. He's a funny guy. Next to him, you and Kevin. I think you're a good team. I think you're like, that's kind of where I go to, right? So no, give yourself a lot of credit. And I think you should keep on doing that. You should definitely keep on doing that because A, you love it. B, you're good at it. So A is more important than B in this case, but you're still good at it.
150, 100%. As long as somebody's willing to allow me to, whether it be backstage interviewing or commentary, I will always do that. But as for the conversation and stuff like that, I feel like I've left a great body of work behind where I have said everything that I've wanted to say. And I've scratched and clawed and reached to a pinnacle where I was able to help elevate this scene a little bit, help spotlight this scene, which has been amazing to do. Some of the talents I've been able to speak and watch their journeys evolve. And of course, as the year winds down, I'm going to have two of my all-time returning guests coming back on, which is, Gabriel Flairza and Alexi Nicole. They're coming back on for a little coup de grace, a little farewell conversation.
They're the best.
They are.
They are the best.
They're two phenomenal people. I mean, you know that Gabriel Flores is my best friend, right? He'll never
Oh
admit it.
yes.
Yeah, he'll never admit it, but
Oh yeah, I've heard you say it many times. Yes.
yeah, exactly. You've heard me say it. I'm hoping that one time he'll actually say it, but I don't think he will.
Forza has no friends. Forza is just loved by everybody.
That's true.
And he just does his own thing. Like
that's true. He absolutely does. But I want to get back into the wrestling photography because I want to ask this. This is a question I feel like you'll give me a true, genuine answer. When you're in the moment, and like you mentioned, you're trying to capture, you're trying to compose, you're trying to do all these things. But when these guys are going, 50, 60 miles a minute, and you literally have no room for error, you got to get the shot and get the shot. When you go back and you catch some of these acrobatic wonders in a still frame, and you look back and you look at your computer and you've edited it, you've touched it up the way you feel it's the best, and you look back and you go, holy fuck, how did I catch a human body being able to do that? Is it a wonder when you look back at some of the photos, you're like, Jesus Christ, wow.
I'm bad. I don't like my pictures generally. I think it's fascinating being able to stop time. I mean, that's why I love photography. I love stopping time, freezing a moment, and that's all shutter speed. So if you've got your shutter speed set right, you're going to make a sharp photo, and if you've got your timing right, you're going to catch that moment. I have a hard time looking at my pictures and going, "Oh, that's awesome." I mean, it's few and far between, but I think it is pretty freaking cool capturing those moments and being able to, like I always say, it's capturing the moment between the moments.
I like that. A moment within a moment.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the only reason I guess you could say I spray and pray. When you shoot in burst mode, everybody says, "Oh, spray and pray." No, I'm not shooting 20 pictures a second. I'm not doing that. I'm shooting maybe 5 or 6, maybe 10 pictures a second, but for like a second burst, capturing 3 to 5 pictures tops per action. And it's, this as well as I do. When you are watching wrestling and you've been doing it long enough, you know what they're going to do, especially Forza and these guys that we watch every day, right? Like you see him winding up for some of the moves that he does, and oh, I got to get to this side of the ring. And then as soon as his face says something, I'm dipping over to the other side to catch that composition or perspective or whatever. But as far as looking at my pictures afterwards and being like, yeah, I mean, occasionally there's a picture I have of Aerostar with the flaming gun at Demand Lucha, and the flame is just firing out into the crowd, and I can see my wife Shelly, her face out there in the crowd, just like the flame hitting her face, like not literally, but the heat from it. You get the moments like that, yeah. And there's some really important photos that I have. Like there's one with Swerve. Shane Strickland, when he came to Demand Lucha and he gave Shelly a high five, but he kind of grabbed her hand a little bit. So now Shelly says that he's her best friend because he held her hand. So yeah, it's just kind of like Forza, right?
I get it. Yeah. I know. From somebody who's been in that world, I get it. I get that. Shelly, I understand it.
But it's those are the moments that I love, and if it has a personal meaning to me, like I got a picture of Mustafa Ali portrait. And as soon as I clicked that photo, dude, as soon as I clicked the camera, I looked at the back and I thought, it's like, I'm done. I retire. I mean, this is my favorite photo I've ever made. The blue in the back, wearing the blue suit with his pose, and just, yeah, that totally jazzes me up. But as far as, just looking at my pictures after edits, usually I'm so tired when I'm done editing, I can barely open my eyes, but especially this month. But no, I love my pictures sometimes, but I can't sit and say I'm good. I just can't.
Fair enough. It's crazy because even from a podcast standpoint, I've had conversations where I'm like, man, I was on that day. And I will say that. I will say, I was on for, good 30, 40%, 50% of that conversation. But even in the same in photographies, there are people that you always dreamed of shooting, just like I'm sure there are people that I've always dreamed of talking with. I've been able to knock a few of those people off my bucket list. Rob Van Dam twice, Eric Bischoff, which was incredibly lucky and a life-changing conversation. Was able to sit down with Thomas Latimer, was able to sit down with a lot of people who in this business I absolutely love. Got to sit down with Kerry Morton, who's a legacy to Ricky Morton. Like, you can't beat these kinds of conversations.
Absolutely.
So when it comes for you in terms of shooting, you've shot a lot of great people, a lot of up and coming talents, a lot of talents that are in the business now, and a lot of talents that are kind of in their winding down years. What was one of those talents? I mean, you mentioned Mustafa Ali. I know he was on the list for a long time. I remember having conversations with you saying, I cannot wait. But you've also shot the likes of God, Matt Cardona. So I have to ask. I mean, I'm not asking you to narrow it down. Don't give me a number, but a few names that were you able to cross off your wish list?
You know what's funny? It's really funny. I'll answer that in just a second. But what's really funny to me is if I'm watching WWE and there's a wrestler that I can't stand, like somebody that's really annoying, I just Shelly, I fucking hate that guy. Shelly's like, nobody's a good wrestler. I'm like, I just fucking hate him. 99% of the time when he's let go from WWE, he ended up back at Destiny.
Yep.
And I ended up having to photograph him.
Right.
Like Noof and a couple other people. Like I'm just like, it was painful sometimes to shoot some of these guys.
Right.
But the people that I absolutely loved and was so honored to shoot, Mustafa Ali, I mean, that's my number one. And I know it sounds kind of weird, but from the first time I saw him, if you talk to Shelly, from the very first match I saw him in, I said to Shelly, this guy is amazing. He's so good. And he was my guy from day one. Just his resilience. He reminded me of like a Shawn Michaels, the way he'd always keep coming back. He always had interesting moves. Very, very unique. So yeah, I was super stoked to shoot him, but unexpectedly, Jake the Snake Roberts was a big one for me when he came to Barrie. I don't even know how Gibson worked that out, but Jake the Snake was in Barrie and I had some time with him in the back. I got some portraits of him giving the finger and it was great. It's one of my favorite portraits of me ever. But having a conversation with him in the back and having him tell me a story about the time that he was going to Japan, he was in a portrait shoot with Andre the Giant, and he and Andre were there side by side, and they were about to take the picture, and Jake takes a huge step forward, making himself look much bigger against Andre, right? So he went over to Japan, and everybody that hired him thought he was a giant because he was so big. And they beat the shit out of him when he was over there because he wasn't a giant. So it's like playing games with me. So anyway, yeah, that story was really cool to hear. Matt Cardona, yeah, that was cool. Matt Riddle, hanging out with Matt Riddle and having a moment with Matt Riddle in the back room.
We all have the moment. We all had it.
That was pretty freaking cool. But other than that, I honestly think wrestlers are just normal people. They're all just normal people, right? I used to be a bellman at Stratton Mountain in Vermont, and I used to carry the luggage for like Madeline Cunin, who was the governor, and the pilot from Magnum PI, the BA. I don't know what was his name. I forget his name now. But anyway, there's a lot of celebrities. Susan Lucci and a bunch of other celebrities would come through there, and it never really fazed me. Like I don't get starstruck that easily. But when a couple of these wrestlers, like Mustafa Ali, I was totally starstruck. I don't think I was starstruck with Riddle because he was just so easygoing. I don't think you can be starstruck with Matt Riddle. Mm. He's too chill.
He's very chill, and the way he cuts promos and stuff, guys, is exactly the way he talks. There's no turning it up. It's when you hear Matt Riddle cutting a promo, it's like sitting next to Matt Riddle smoking a joint. Literally is.
Absolutely. Yeah, he probably did just before he did the interview each time.
Probably.
I think Ron Hutchinson, of all the people that I've met, I think Ron Hutchinson is the most important. He's the one who got me into AWF. I don't know. Do you know Ron? You know Ron.
I know. I've met Ron a few times. He knows of me. I asked him to come on the podcast. Doesn't really do the interview thing much anymore, but you always got to take a shot. What I always say, the 1,000 times the questions you ask, or 1,000 times the opportunities you seek out, are the ones that you may never know. If you don't try, what's the worst that can happen? Hey, somebody says no. 100%. I'm not going to be upset. I'm not going to, Ron Hutchinson said no to me. No, I was like, hey, cool. I understand. I respect it. I still think you're a legend. So
yeah, and he really is. And he's been very kind to me and to Shelly and to Shelly's mother over the years. And I think of all of the people I've met in wrestling, he's probably the most important. Yeah. Danny Garcia, shooting him. I got to know him pretty well up in Barrie. He was there quite often. That was cool. Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of really cool wrestlers. Hornet, Daryl Sharma.
There you go.
Who is Adrian Butler, referee Adrian Butler in NXT. Yeah, I mean, there's so many people that came up from this area that are doing well now. It's really cool to see. That's probably my favorite thing about shooting pro wrestling is my archive. my archive is freaking huge. Like I've shot so many people that you've got somebody who makes it to the WWE. I probably have one of their photos if they were in Ontario at any point. And I mean, that's kind of cool. I'm part of that story, you know? As far as if I were good photos or not, I'll let other people decide. I don't like to toot my horn. I let other people talk for me,
but you're right.
I have fun.
You're part of that story. You're able to capture those moments and those memories. Now I got to ask this, because this is kind of a fun question. You're out there, you're in the midst of the action. Margin for error is slim to none. Have you ever been hit accidentally?
Yes.
And has it left you with some serious battle scars? Like you went home, took the shirt off, and boom, bruise up and down. No. But you have been caught in the crossfire.
A couple times. Yeah, I was hit in the head by a Susan, what's her name? The Thigh Master lady, Suzanne Summers.
Suzanne Summers.
Yeah. So
how does one get hit in the head by Suzanne Summers? Please enlighten me about this.
Okay, so Tomer Shalom had his fitness gimmick for a while. And he'd come out with like the armbands and like Mr. Fitness. And one of the things he had was the Suzanne Summer Thigh Master. You know what the Thigh Master, right? You know what that is, with the big spring. So I don't know what this is. Anyway, he came out with that thing, and he's doing it in the ring, and then he just chucks it off to the side, and it pings off my head. So that was fun. I was pushed over by a wrestler and cracked my lens off the ground. Oof. And again, the wrestler, not naming names, totally took care of everything. Aww. Owned up to it, paid for it, amazing about it. No hard feelings in any way, shape, or form. Other than that, no, I haven't been hit and injured because I pay attention. I shoot with both eyes open. I'm used to it. I'm very aware of my space. The only time it was potentially a problem was a Destiny show with Trent Seven and Steve
Macklin.
Yes. When Trent Seven ended up on my chest and Macklin was going to chop him, and Trent looks back at me like, "Are you going to move, bud?" I was like, yoink. I dipped out of the way, and the match went on. That was fun. But no, I'm pretty self-aware, and I've been lucky.
I love that. I've
had a lot of photographers broke their collarbones from people landing on them, and when the refs slide to make their count, a lot of times their feet will go outside the ring. I move back. Squares or any of the wrestlers. Ooh. Well, thank you, Shelly.
Hey, Shelly's home. Hold on.
Shelly, George wants to say hi.
Hi, George.
There she is. The light of my life.
The light of my life. Awesome. Thank you, Shell. That's a nice little treat.
I miss him.
I miss you too. I miss you too, sweetheart.
He misses you too. Have me on your show.
You know what?
What was I?
You were talking about how, refs' feet can slide by. There's always just you have to know your surroundings. Essentially, you're saying you have to know your surroundings and you shoot with both eyes open.
That's key. If there's any advice I can give to a wrestling photographer, is both eyes open. So many people get stuck like this, and I wouldn't even see that Shelly's standing there right now. But both eyes open, you pay attention.
Right. I love that.
Sorry.
Okay, so my final question now before we wrap it up and say goodbye. My final question. When Brian Weis looks at his archives, looks at sometimes the outtakes, sometimes you capture a moment, you capture a wrestler laughing at a joke, something, you're just testing shots, but it's such a cool little archival photo. Not asking you to share it, not asking, have you ever caught someone in a truly organic and real moment?
Wow. I was thinking about the photos that I can't share.
Right.
That I have photos of.
Right.
Like certain wrestlers that wear dental floss. You can't share a lot of those photos.
Mm-hmm.
But a truly organic, actually Fuerza. I've gotten a lot of shots of Fuerza. Whether he's seen them or not, I don't know. But I'm mesmerized by that guy. Like, legitimately think that the guy is freaking awesome. Like, head to toe. I always have since day one. Mm-hmm. So I pay attention to him, Vertigo, the guys that I know really, really well. And I catch a lot of them doing their thing, mingling around and doing their thing. Anything that I would say that I would print, probably not.
No, not print, but just a truly organic moment for sure. No, sometimes sometimes a photo that you, excuse me, a photo that you have is just for your eyes only. Those are like the coolest photos because you can look back and you'd be like, I remember this shot. I was testing my lens, I was testing the lighting, and I just happened to say something kind of corny or kind of funny, and they laughed, and I just happened to capture that. And it's not for anybody else to see, but it's for me. And that's what's cool.
My photography is a lot less, having conversation and getting reaction. Right. So it's always just more just whatever's happening. Like there's a lot of matches that I'll shoot and I'll look back afterwards and you can tell who's into it and who's not. You get that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man.
You can tell who's phoned it in. You can tell, yeah, I'm here because I was booked. So I'm gonna perform. I'm gonna perform to the best of my ability and put on a great show, but it's not the best I could do. But it's the best I could do when I'm not trying.
And then you get some wrestlers that you think are going to be, absolutely incredible wrestlers that they get out and their personality is dud. And you just don't feel anything emotional from their wrestling at all. Like I was really disappointed with a certain tag team that came through Destiny, who happened to wrestle my favorite tag team, Fight or Flight. Mm-hmm. And I was expecting a lot more emotion wise in the images and their faces. One of the things I always talk about, if I've been asked a few times to talk to wrestlers about what to do when they're wrestling, like what advice would I give, blah, blah, blah. My advice is think of the moment between the moment. Always have your face on point. Like when you're just standing in the background, not doing anything, the camera still sees you. You know what I mean? Like still be in the moment, still be in that match at all times. Moving, doing a flip, be in the match. Like, oh, I'm in a falling move or something, right? Like have something in your face. Just don't be all like stoic and concentrating all the time. So that's one thing. But
be genuine. Be genuine.
Yeah. But as far as my archive goes, and I did want to say this, I think the coolest feeling of self-pride for me was during COVID when Barry and everybody was shut down, and I still had a full archive of photos that I could share from and post and promote the company. And, there's always more stuff there to talk about, stuff from 5-6 years ago that, oh, hey, Danny Garcia is on TV. Hey, remember when he was in Barry? Check out this shot. And, I've got this great archive from every event, almost, I think I might've missed 5 in the 10 years or whatever it's been. So that's something I'm very proud of, having that archive. And knowing that somebody like Vance Nevada can do this book, Uncontrolled Chaos, and he'll come to me and he'll ask me for some pictures, right? So that's kind of cool. But yeah, that's I think what I'm most proud of. You mentioned how leaving a legacy. And again, I'm going to go back to the whole, I'm going to let other people speak to my legacy because it's not for me to talk about. Mm-hmm. But I do feel that having done it for as long as I have, there'd be some holes to fill if I stopped doing it, right? But there's some good photographers out there that'll do it. Mm-hmm. Like there's some really great photographers that I love. I think they're great people. John Gallant, Hocus Mocus, whatever his name is. Mm-hmm. Hocus Focus Pics. I know what it is. I'm just stupid. Showtime Wrestling, Siraj, his name. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of really good young photographers out there. And I just really hope that whether I'm shooting a show or not, if they want to come and shoot and have fun, that's great. Be respectful, ask questions if you want. I'm always happy to answer questions to any photographer that has a question. As long as, like you say, we're bringing the people up, that's what matters, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's the same thing. Like I know there's 1,000 young podcasters who probably haven't even picked up a mic yet that will fill the spot and excel way more than I did. But all I care about at the end of the day is that I know that I, for 10 years, had some of the best conversations that I could have. And now I can actually count this one on the list because not only did we not talk about wrestling the entire time, we talked about life. We talked about a little bit of everything, which is one of those great, genuine conversations that I love. And you're a great person. You're a great photographer. And you, sir, have been a phenomenal light in this pro wrestling world. So
thank you.
I appreciate everything you are. Let everyone at home know where they can follow the journey that his wife shot me.
Instagram, Weis shot me. Facebook, Weis shot me. I hate Twitter, whatever it's called today, so I'm not there.
X.
Yeah, X. Yeah.
Y tomorrow. Could be Z. Who knows? Who cares?
Not interested. I've dabbled on
TikTok?
other things. TikTok, yeah, I have TikTok thing, but I don't really. I just fuck around on TikTok. I don't really use it to promote anything. But yeah, I'd say Instagram is pretty much where I spend most of my time.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you go through the archives, it's pretty damn impressive. And this man is talented as hell. So if you want to talk about leaving a legacy, I will big you up till the end of time. You, sir, are one of the best. Hands down.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you as well. All right, guys, that's it for this one. Straight Talk Wrestling in the can. As we go on to the journey, we gear up to gear down. Peace, love, and wrestling. See you guys next time. Peace.
Yo, we just people from the north side. Once the Timmy's hit the shore fine. Winter ready on the full ties. Heavy traffic during 4-5. Gotta hustle on your own time. Color people every port side. We just people from the north side.